Hi, I'm Mike Kagas. I'm the electrical occupations instructor here at Columbia-Montour AVTS. And today I'm going to demonstrate for you how we would make a CAD weld. And where the CAD weld is used is when we were going to do the grounding system for our electrical service, where we have a ground rod. So we would have a grounding electrode conductor coming down to connect to our ground rod, which would be buried into the ground, and we'd have a pipe clamp that has or an acorn clamp on the ground rod and our grounding electrode. So what I have here in our bucket here is we have our mock ground rod, and then I have our ceramic where we're going to make our CAD weld, and then we have our two grounding electrode conductors that would be connected to that pipe. Okay, so a couple steps before we would get started here doing this is you would take your wires and clean them off with a wire brush and get them set into your grommet. Clean both of these off. The reason why you would want to clean your wires off is you may be doing this where your wires are buried in a trench. They may have dirt on them. So you'd want to clean them off. You want to get some of that outer coating off too, because you want a good copper to your metal rod connection. So at this stage, can we zoom in on how our wires are set up in here? So our wires overlap each other inside the crucible, and now we're going to place in our metal disc that comes with this CAD weld kit. When we put that in there, now we're going to take our welding powder and put that into the mix. And we want to be careful that we don't get at the very bottom of this, we have what is called starting powder. And we don't want to get all of that starting powder mixed in with our welding powder. We want to get some of this on top. So now we set this here. We put in the rest. And you see that nice powder on the outside is all of our starting powder. Alright, so right now we're going to put on our welding gloves, and then we are going to get our striker where we're going to actually strike this with the spark. The spark is going to hit the starting powder, and the starting powder and that spark going in there is going to cause a flame, and the flame this is going to heat up really hot, and it's going to weld this connection to the ground rod. Okay, so you see how that heated up. You can let this sit for 20 to 30 seconds. As that flame stops, it starts to cool down. The cooling process starts right away. So what happens is we can take this out of here. We could bust it apart real quick. But if I take this top piece off, we can zoom in and you could actually see what happens on the inside of this CAD weld. Okay, you can see that all of the welding material, all of that powder in there is all different types of metals, and it melts and it welds in there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take the rod out, we're going to get it onto a hard surface, and we're going to strike this with a hammer and pound this outer ceramic off. Alright, so now we'll take our ground rod. In real life you wouldn't do this, okay? You wouldn't be taking it out of your out of the ground, but for training purposes we're going to set it down here and I'm going to bust this ceramic off. That back. Now we can come and look. So in real life, this would be on the ground. You smack it a couple times, but since I have this, you know, it will move a little bit. I put it on the hard surface. Take that ceramic off, and then you can see that we have our two conductors coming in, and all of our welding material is welded on there. And you can come in here with a grinding wheel and clean all this up real nice to then have your finished product of your two ground rods. This weld will never come apart, and that would be a demonstration of one method of how you could do your grounding system for your ground rod in your house. Thank you for watching, and I hope you decide to come to VTTV to learn and do this project yourself. Thank you.